Good morning, everyone. This is Brad Matheny. Today's the 22nd of May, Thursday. Happy Thursday, everyone. We are looking, this is the Plan Your Trade video, start over, working on my first cup of coffee here. We are looking at a little bit of a rollover today in the markets. Couple of interesting things taking place right now. General markets are quite a bit lower overall. You can see here that the S&P moved down yesterday. Dow Jones moved down yesterday. Everything moved down quite hard yesterday. Would I call this a breakdown? Well, this blue level, let me highlight this light blue, make it a bright blue level or bright yellow level, I guess. Right here would indicate, yes, that we're getting closer and closer to a breakdown. Now, as I've taught you, tried to teach you, use a regression channel when you're trying to figure out where we're at with these trends. Okay, so here's a fairly common regression channel, which should be set to 2. Yep, 2 percentage points. So we really don't have that breakdown mode until right over here, right over in this area. And that's going to put us right at the 5, call it 575, 576 area. So 575, 576. That's going to be really our breakdown mode. And I think I highlighted it right back over here. But so we're still in kind of a consolidation range, still in moderate upward trending. Yes, you can argue this is a downward breakdown right now. But like I said, a lot of people were commenting about my analysis. I'd been calling for a rollover top for many weeks, indicating that we're still in this upward flagging formation. And, I kind of got the hint that, look, we're in an uptrend. Brad, quit calling for a downtrend or a rollover top because we're in an uptrend. So I rolled back into just look, I'm not going to tell you what I see. Well, I try to still tell you what I see coming, but I'm sticking to the fact that, hey, we're in an uptrend. And until we break that confidently, then we're in an uptrend. That's why I'm not changing my analysis much. But the reality is, yes, we are currently in an uptrend. And until we break this 575, 576 level, we're technically still in an uptrend. Okay. It's pretty simple. And so we really need to look at this, kind of from a standpoint of this being our flagging formation coming down here, rolling really up this channel and setting this up here and then rolling up this channel here being our flag instead of this. And that is really our flag for the most part. I mean, it's running off of this standard deviation channel. You can see the flagging setup. Once we get down here below this, call it 575, 576 level, that's where we get our breakdown, potentially. Okay, so we still have these ranges in place. We're still rolling around this cycle topping formation. We could continue to roll into this consolidation over the next couple of days, but we're looking at more of a rollover breakdown. And just like I talked to you guys about, that U.S. credit downgrade is going to have some carryover into the market. So we're looking at a breakaway in counter trend mode. We're in bullish trending. We have daily bearish bias, bullish weekly bias. The way I interpret this counter trend mode is that we would be moving to the downside in a breakaway type of pattern. And then tomorrow we have a carryover in carryover mode, which going into Friday could be a bit more selling. We'll see. Monday we have an inside pause in counter trend mode, which will be likely to the upside. We have then a blank in counter trend mode, maybe slightly more upside. Inside breakaway in trend mode. We'll see what the trend mode is like over here. And then Harami inside flat. Then a big crush pattern. Okay. So we're kind of looking at if I were to draw it, potential kind of like this. Really just kind of flatlining on out. Rolling, flattening, setting up kind of a rollover flat channel in the works. We might get down below 570, we might get down into 564, maybe. That's what the downward move this week, today and tomorrow might be like. But again, I think next week we just kind of flatline right back over here, kind of in this rectangle mode in this area next week. Remember, we have a holiday on Monday, so be aware that Monday over here, keep forgetting about the holiday, the inside pause pattern and counter trend might get pushed into Tuesday on the 27th. Monday is Memorial Day, so be aware that we could kind of move into this sideways consolidation range. Okay, QQQ, same thing. Looking at kind of a rollover. Oh, this was my drawing. Looking to kind of fill that gap. We're getting this rollover mode. We're very likely going to move down into this area and consolidate, possibly trying to fill this gap here and consolidate. Qs typically tend to be a bit more volatile. Looking really kind of like this channel here for next week. We might get this rollover over the next day or two. You can still see the standard regression or linear regression channel. So there's kind of our breakdown level right down here. Let's do it with a line. There's our breakdown level in blue. And so that would put us again where I've drawn it, roughly 502 would be our breakdown level. And we'll see if this plays out. Now, remember, I've been calling for this rollover top for weeks. And like I said, I had a little bit of pushback, and I appreciate all of you because, some of you have comments, some of you have your own opinion, and that's fantastic. The idea here is to teach you. But when I hear that this is just me, when I hear that, I'm potentially not giving you what you want, which is when the market's going up and I keep calling for a potential rollover and be cautious of a rollover, which is what I was saying, that this looks like a speculative rally, particularly this last week move here. Excuse me. I don't want to be telling you, oh, look for a top, look for a top, look for a top while we shoot up 30 points, 40 points. You need to be aware that, we're in this flagging formation. And this is something you need to very clearly understand. We're in this broad excess phase peak flagging formation running right up here. And we have that upper flag running right across here. And that flag is bullish. Until we break that flag trend, ladies and gentlemen, is bullish. Okay, so there's our trend. There's our standard deviation channel. I'm showing you how to identify it using standard deviation. And this 502 level, in my opinion, or below, would constitute a breakdown. Anything below 500, 502 would constitute a breakdown. And in my opinion, that's where we're headed. Probably by middle or end of next week, maybe even today. I mean, we're at 511 right now. Markets are down a little bit. Nothing serious, but we'll see how it plays out. SPY is down 0.40, nothing serious. Okay. All right, so let's go to gold and silver. Gold and silver is looking at a blank pattern after a momentum rally. We move back into bullish trending. We're in a blank trend. Then we get rotation, counter trend. And then we move into Monday, which is a stock holiday. Futures will still trade. Reversal rally, blank into trending, top resistance and trending, gap potential, and then another beautiful gap stall revert flush. We've had a lot of these gap stall revert flushes. Okay, and you can see we've moved into explosive trending here, accumulation. We're going to have another one here this weekend, which is going to be interesting. We'll see if that carries over into Sunday, which it could because of the holiday. We're back into bullish momentum on gold, and we're in explosive trending as of yesterday. Gold right now is moving slightly right here to the downside on a bit of a pullback. After reaching 3340, we've rolled down here to this 33, just below 3300, down to 2890, and now we're rolling back to the upside. Silver, same thing. This is a 4-hour chart. Every time I say that, it reminds me of Gilligan's Island, a 3-hour tour. All right, I'm not singing it. So anyway, long and short of it, we're rolling in a nice uptrend. We've got this clean breakaway of the resistance. We're getting into a little rolling. I still believe that gold and silver are going to continue to rally. This pullback in silver is, yeah, I mean, it's I don't like it. 68 points to 65 points the downside or cents. I don't like the fact that we pulled back so aggressively down to and below this resistance channel again, but we set a recent high. And what's going to happen here is, this channel is going to continue to play out to the upside, and we will more than likely roll quite aggressively back up, trying to take out this high. So it's gonna be an interesting move in metals here to see if we can take out that high. Same thing should happen over here. We should roll back up to this high, try to take this high out fairly cleanly over the next couple of days. So we shall see. We shall see. Metals are really reacting to fear, which is going to play out in the long run as we move out. Now, we could be setting up the consolidation range right over here. Looks like we could be setting up. You can see kind of the consolidation range setting up in this area. So pay attention that we may have the flag breakout, consolidation. Same thing here. We could be looking at consolidation across this area for silver after this flag breakout. It would make sense that this would be the first stage of consolidation before we attempt to move higher. Now, this is where I mentioned consolidation would occur here. This is where I mentioned consolidation may occur over here. Looks like we're getting a little shorter term blip here. We'll see how it plays out. Okay. Get rid of some of these extra lines. So let's see if this is consolidation. This may be our ultimate high up here, somewhere up in this area. And same thing here. If this is consolidation, we may end up with an ultimate high up here near 35. So we'll see how it plays out. But again, we're getting that middle consolidation range in gold and silver, which is part of the excess phase peak pattern. Very clear that we should get that breakaway up into the ultimate high level. Could be a big breakaway, could be a big extended rally. We'll see how it plays out. And again, this may not be consolidation. It looks like it's setting up consolidation, but could easily move higher and try to consolidate up here. We'll see. What's going to happen here is we're going to get a deep low, which we've already got right over here and right over here. And again, this could, off of this deep low, set up another flagging formation and then rally up into consolidation here. Same thing here, coming down, come up, set up a flagging formation, and then rally up into consolidation here. So these things start to stack, like I've been telling you. So we'll see how it plays out. Either way, pretty good for metals. And then lastly, before I run out of time, we are going to come over here to Bitcoin. And I love all the comments. Thank you. Bitcoin has moved up into the 500 area. You see it right here, 111,500. Very much up into that upper channel that I had been talking about prior to my video. And remember, I did this video for you guys. These are my comments right here. This massive double top warning pattern. And I had indicated in this video that we could get up into the 113, 115 area before it tops, just like we saw with this little false breakout right over here. So we could get up into that 113, 115, maybe 116, maybe 117 area before it actually tops. And we're getting that nice clean breakout right here. Okay. Very nice clean. This is daily. You can see the topping pattern. We're getting above it. And again, I would be cautious that we could be up in this area, stalling, topping, and rolling back downward. We're still very bullish. We could reject up at this area. We have not gotten any breakdown in trending yet. We are still bullish, bullish, bullish. So be aware that, we're not in any breakdown trend yet, but we're up into that potential rejection area. And this is the rejection area. Here, I'll draw it for you. This is kind of that rejection area where I think that Bitcoin could run into some real resistance. 112, 115, somewhere in that area. I think we could run into some real resistance and roll back down, just like we saw back over here when I drew this chart for you. So here's the same chart from that video. And you can see as we get up into this area, we could still get that little resistance right up over here, kind of right up in here, which is the same thing we had right up over here. Same setup. So we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see how this plays out. Lots of great comments. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And again, TradingView, thank you for picking this video as an editor's pick. Love it. Thank you. And we'll see how it plays out. But either way, I'm very cautious right now of a general market rollover. We've reached that, it's called a scouting party up here, where price attempts to break above major resistance, shows that it does, gets everybody into a bullish mode, and then just consolidates and breaks down. It happens on the S&P and the QQQ constantly. So, you can see here that we get above the resistance and we break down. Scouting party breakdown. And so we'll come here, get rid of that. And oops, we get above the resistance and we get a little bit of a breakdown. And it just happens all the time. And above resistance right here, and we get a breakdown. This is the way the excess phase peak pattern works. Okay, it's really, you're getting the pullback into flagging and then the breakaway. And it sets up really with a pullback into flagging and then a breakaway. And then a rally and the pullback into flagging. And then eventually flagging works its way up and we get the breakaway. And then we get a pullback into flagging and then a breakaway. And a pullback into flagging and a breakaway. Pullback into flagging, then a breakaway. That's how it works. So now, hypothetically, why couldn't we get the pullback into flagging and then the breakaway to the downside? And then a pullback, whoops. And then here we have this big broad pullback into flagging. Why couldn't we get the breakaway to the downside? There's nothing saying we can't, guys. Okay, and there's absolutely nothing saying that we couldn't continue to get this rally phase pullback into flagging that continues to break away here to the upside. There's absolutely nothing saying that either one of these cannot happen. What I'm saying is that until we stay, or unless we break above this high or this low, we are staying in consolidation, and price is going to attempt to either break out of this high right over here or below this low. And that, or lastly, it could attempt to establish a new low down here, consolidating into a range. That's viable. It's either going to take out this high, this low, or stay consolidated within this range and set up new highs and lows rolling sideways. So in reality, this move here, this dark blue, this is what I think is most likely right now. Okay, guys, a little long. I'm going to go work on some coffee. Go get some today. Remember, the markets are moving into kind of a consolidated flat day today. So we got a breakaway day here in Countertrend for the SPY. And then we've got kind of a neutral nothing bar in trending mode. We're back in bullish mode. We'll see what happens with gold and silver. I mean, this big breakdown, like I said, is kind of interesting in the sense that, you know, it's a pullback. It could be the start of consolidation and flagging, but we will see how it plays out today. And like I said, I think metals should do well over the next couple of weeks to the upside. We'll see. Doesn't look great on this big pullback today, but you know, that's probably some sort of news. I'll have to look it up. All right, guys, that's it for now. Talk to you later.